Here begins the story of the threshold. This is no mere watch from afar story that your other books may offer. In this story you are a part of the journey. Prepare yourself. Chapter 1, It Begins. The city streets are bathed in the orange glow of twilight as you walk home, the bustling world around you feeling like it's on a different wavelength. You've always been alone, more so than just being solitary. There's a deep sense of detachment, as if you're observing life from a distance, never truly part of it. The echoes of laughter and casual conversation fade into the background as you retreat into your thoughts. You've grown numb to the world of romantic comedies and tales of happy endings. The loneliness used to sting, but now it's a familiar companion. In this void, though, you found something extraordinary. It started small, a flicker of intuition, a sharp sense of perception that others seemed to lack. Then came the dreams, vivid and strange, where you could control your surroundings. Your emerging abilities make you even more of an outsider, and that leaves you with a choice: remain in the shadows or step forward, despite the risks. As you reach your apartment door, the decision weighs heavy on your mind. The world outside is still moving, unaware of the power you hold. Inside, the air feels thick with the possibilities of what you could do next. The city hums, full of life, yet you stand at the edge, holding secrets that could change everything. You step into your apartment, the door clicking shut behind you with a comforting finality. The dim light from the street outside filters through the blinds, casting soft patterns across the floor. The familiar scent of home washes over you, and you let out a long sigh. From the corner of the room, a soft purr draws your attention. There, curled up on your favorite chair, is your cat, your one constant companion. Her emerald eyes gleam in the low light as she lifts her head, ears twitching, sensing your presence before she fully opens her eyes. She stretches, arching her back in that graceful way cats do, then pads over to you with a soft meow, her tail curling like a question mark. You kneel down to her level, and she rubs her head against your leg, her purrs growing louder. The warmth of her small body against yours is soothing, a balm for the loneliness you often carry. You scoop her up gently, cradling her close as you settle into the soft cushions of the couch. She nuzzles into your chest, her purring now a steady, rhythmic hum that vibrates through you. In this quiet moment, the world outside fades away. There are no expectations, no pressures, no need to fit in or prove anything. It's just you and her, the soft rise and fall of her breathing matching your own. The weight of the loneliness, even the bitterness you felt, it all melts away, replaced by this simple, wordless companionship. For now, it's enough. You stroke her fur, feeling the softness beneath your fingers, and close your eyes. The city continues its relentless pace outside, but here, in this small haven, time feels like it's slowing down just for you. Gently, you lift your cat from your lap and set her down. She meows in protest but quickly perks up as she realizes what's coming next. You head to the kitchen, the familiar sound of her paws patting softly behind you. Opening a cabinet, you pull out her favorite food. She knows the sound of dinner being prepared all too well. Her tail twitches excitedly, and you can't help but smile as you scoop the food into her dish. She doesn't wait for any further invitation and dives in, her contented purring echoing through the kitchen as she eats. With your cat happily occupied, you wander over to your bookshelf, running your fingers along the spines of the well-worn books. Each one holds memories, stories that you've escaped into countless times. Fiction and non-fiction blend together, worlds of fantasy, dark dramas, philosophical musings, and a few guilty pleasure novels that you've read more times than you'd admit. One book catches your eye, and you pull it from the shelf. It's an old, leather-bound volume with a faded cover, a collection of stories about characters who struggled with being different, much like you. You flip through the pages, the scent of old paper filling the air. The words pull you in, and for a moment, you lose yourself in the stories of others who, like you, have walked the line between loneliness and power. Some found redemption, others found peace, and a few embraced their differences fully, no matter the cost. As you read, a part of you wonders if you'll ever find your place in the world. But for now, here in the quiet of your home, with the purring of your cat in the background, the stories on these pages offer a kind of solace. As you sink deeper into the story, the words on the page begin to blur. Your mind drifts, entranced by the tale, until you notice something strange. Your surroundings seem to change subtly. You blink, confused, and look up from the book. Your cozy apartment has transformed. The familiar walls have disappeared, replaced by towering, ancient trees. Their thick branches twist overhead, creating a dense canopy that filters the moonlight into pale, shimmering beams. The air smells earthy and fresh, filled with the distant sounds of a forest at night. You can hear the soft rustle of leaves, the hoot of an owl, and the faint trickle of a stream nearby. Your cat is still with you, but even she seems different, larger, more graceful, her fur gleaming with an otherworldly sheen. Her eyes glow with a soft, mysterious light as she surveys this new world, seemingly unperturbed by the sudden change. She brushes against your leg, as if reassuring you that you're not alone in this strange place. As you stand, the book still in your hand, you realize the story you had been reading has come to life. The characters you had just read about, the loners, the outcasts, and the powerful beings, now seem to dwell in the shadows of this forest, their presence palpable, though unseen. You can feel their stories intertwining with your own, as if this world has drawn you in to become a part of it. In the distance, a faint glow catches your eye. It pulses gently, like a beacon, inviting you to come closer. The path ahead is unclear, but the pull is undeniable. You glance down at your cat, who looks up at you with an almost knowing expression, as if urging you to follow the call of this enchanted world. With the ancient forest surrounding you, you grip the book tightly in your hand, its pages still warm from the story you were reading moments ago. You can't shake the feeling that this book is somehow connected to everything happening around you. Whatever power it holds, you know you need to keep it close. Your cat watches you with her glowing eyes, calm and alert. You bend down and scoop her up, her familiar weight and warmth comforting against your chest. She purrs softly, curling into your embrace, as if she senses the journey you're about to take. The glow in the distance pulses again, a soft, beckoning light that seems to whisper your name through the rustling leaves. You take a deep breath and start walking toward it, each step crunching softly on the moss-covered ground. As you move deeper into the forest, the trees seem to part for you, guiding your path. The glow grows brighter, illuminating the darkened woods with a silvery light. Strange shapes move at the edges of your vision, wisps of fog that twist and curl, and shadowy figures that seem to vanish when you try to focus on them. Yet, nothing threatens you. It's as if this world, though mysterious, recognizes you. After what feels like both an eternity and only a few moments, you find yourself standing at the edge of a clearing. At its center is the source of the glow, a tall, ancient tree with bark that shimmers like silver in the moonlight. Embedded in the tree's trunk is a glowing orb, pulsating softly with light. It radiates warmth and energy, and you can feel its pull deep within you, like a heartbeat matching your own. Your cat stirs in your arms, her eyes fixed on the orb as if she understands its significance. The book in your hand hums faintly, resonating with the energy of the orb. You feel an inexplicable connection between the book, the orb, and yourself, as if you're on the brink of uncovering something profound, something that could change everything. The glowing orb pulses brighter, its light enveloping you, and for a moment, everything blurs. You feel a strange tug, as if the world is shifting around you. Then, out of nowhere, a sound cuts through the silence, a knock. Sharp and insistent, like someone at your front door. Your eyes snap open, and you're back in your apartment, the familiar surroundings replacing the mystical forest. The soft glow of the book fades, and your cat, once more just your loyal companion, is nestled comfortably in your lap, her purring a steady hum against your chest. The knock comes again, breaking the quiet of your apartment. For a moment, you wonder if you imagined everything. Was it just a vivid daydream, a product of your mind lost in the story? But the weight of the book in your hand, its worn cover warm to the touch, tells you otherwise. The experience was real, somehow intertwined with the story you had been reading. You glance at your cat. She seems as unfazed as ever, her eyes half closed as she curls deeper into your embrace. But there's something in her gaze, a lingering knowingness, as if she too experienced the strange journey and is waiting to see what you'll do next. The knock sounds again, a bit more impatient this time. Whoever is at the door seems intent on reaching you. You gently shift your cat off your lap, her soft protest a mere murmur as she settles onto the couch. With the book still clutched tightly in your hand, you stand and move quietly toward the door, your heartbeat quickening. The knock had a strange urgency to it, something that puts you on edge. You reach the door, your bare feet soundless on the floor, and pause for a moment before leaning in to peer through the peephole. The small, distorted view of the hallway comes into focus, At first, you don't see anyone. The dim lighting in the corridor casts long shadows, making it difficult to see clearly. But then, a figure steps into view, someone tall, draped in a dark, hooded coat that obscures their features. Their posture is calm, almost too calm, as they stand motionless in front of your door. The figure raises a hand, not to knock again, but to wait, an expectant gesture, as if they know you're watching them. They don't seem threatening, but there's an air of mystery around them that sets your nerves on edge. You can't see their face, but there's something unsettlingly familiar about their presence, like a half-remembered dream lingering at the edges of your mind. Your fingers tighten around the door handle, hesitant. The connection to the strange world from the book still lingers in the air, like a whisper in the back of your mind. Something tells you that opening the door could lead you down a path you can't easily turn back from. You keep your hand firmly on the door handle, but you don't unlock it. Instead, you raise your voice just enough to carry through the thick wood. "Who are you?" you ask, trying to sound calm and steady, though your heart pounds in your chest. For a moment, there's no response. The figure outside the door remains motionless, the silence in the hallway thick and heavy. Then, slowly, a voice filters through the door. It's low and smooth, with an eerie calmness that sends a shiver down your spine. "I'm someone who knows what you've seen," the voice says, each word measured. "Someone who understands the power you've touched." Your breath catches. How could this person know about the strange world you were just in, or the book that led you there? You glance down at the book in your hand, feeling its weight like never before. "I'm not here to harm you," the voice continues. "But you're at a crossroads. There are things you need to understand, things that could change your life, or the lives of many others. I can help, but you have to decide to let me in." The figure remains still, waiting for your answer. You can feel the gravity of the moment pressing down on you. The choice lies with you, whether to open the door and let this stranger into your world or to keep the barrier between you, holding on to the life you know. You take a deep breath, the stranger's words lingering in your mind. Before making any decision, you turn to your cat, your constant companion who always seems to sense things you can't. She's sitting on the edge of the couch, her emerald eyes fixed on the door. Her usual relaxed demeanor has shifted, she's alert, her ears perked up, and her tail slowly flicking back and forth. She doesn't appear frightened, but there's an intensity in her gaze that you've rarely seen. Her eyes flick to you, and she lets out a low, thoughtful meow, almost as if she's weighing the situation, just as you are. She doesn't run or hide, which reassures you. Instead, she pads closer to the door, sniffing at the bottom crack. After a moment, she looks up at you, her expression calm but curious. It's as if she's telling you that while this visitor is unusual, she doesn't sense immediate danger. The choice is still yours, but your cat's reaction gives you a small measure of comfort. She seems to trust the situation, even if you're still unsure. The stranger waits patiently on the other side of the door, but time feels like it's stretching thin. With your cat's calm demeanor offering a small sense of reassurance, you take a deep breath and unlock the door. Slowly, cautiously, you turn the handle and begin to open it, your muscles tense and ready for anything. The door creaks as it swings inward, revealing the figure standing in the dim hallway. The person before you is taller than you imagined, draped in a long, dark coat that seems to absorb the light. The hood still obscures most of their face, but as they step forward, you catch a glimpse of sharp, focused eyes peering out from beneath the shadows. There's a quiet intensity in their gaze, a sense of purpose that immediately puts you on guard. They make no sudden moves, standing still at the doorway as if waiting for your permission to cross it. The air between you feels charged, like the moment before a storm. "I'm not here to harm you," the stranger says again, their voice calm but filled with an underlying urgency. "But time is running short. The world you glimpsed, it's more real than you know. And it's about to reach out to you, whether you're ready or not." You tighten your grip on the book, its pages fluttering slightly as if alive with the energy of the strange world within. Your cat, now sitting by your feet, watches the stranger with unblinking eyes, her tail flicking in a slow, deliberate rhythm. The stranger tilts their head slightly, as if sensing your hesitation. You've already taken the first step. What comes next is up to you. But if you let me in, I can help you understand the powers you've uncovered, and the dangers that come with them. They remain at the doorway, waiting for you to decide. The weight of the moment presses down on you, the silence heavy with possibilities. You push the door open wider, stepping back to allow the visitor inside. They move slowly, deliberately, entering the room with a quiet confidence. As they step into the dim light of your apartment, you get a better look at them. Beneath the hood, you see sharp, defined features, and eyes that seem to take in every detail of the room. There's an air of mystery about them, a sense that they don't fully belong in this world. Your cat, still by your side, watches the visitor with a cautious curiosity. She doesn't seem alarmed, but she remains alert, her gaze flicking between you and the stranger. As the door clicks shut behind you, the stranger finally lowers their hood, revealing a person who looks older than you initially thought, with silver-streaked hair and eyes that carry the weight of many untold stories. They glance around your apartment briefly before turning their full attention to you, their expression serious. You've touched a world that lies just beyond this one, they begin, their voice low and deliberate. A world of hidden forces, ancient powers, and things most people can't even begin to comprehend. You accessed it through that book. They nod toward the book still clutched in your hand. But it wasn't by chance. The world of the book chose you because of who you are, because of what you can do. You feel a chill run down your spine. The book in your hand seems heavier, more significant, as if it's not just an object, but a key to something much larger. The visitor continues, stepping closer but keeping a respectful distance. The world you glimpsed is both a reflection and a shadow of our own. It's where the lines between reality and imagination blur, and where those who are sensitive, those with power, can influence both worlds. You've already begun to tap into this power, even if you don't fully understand it yet. They pause, searching your face for any sign of understanding. But there are others who know of this world, and not all of them have good intentions. That's why I'm here. To guide you, before it's too late. The room feels thick with tension as their words hang in the air. The world they're describing feels both familiar and terrifyingly new, a place you've touched but don't yet fully grasp. Your cat brushes against your leg, grounding you in the moment, her purring a soft reminder that you're not alone in this. Your question hangs in the air, and the visitor's intense gaze softens slightly. They take a measured breath before responding, as if choosing their words carefully. You're right to be cautious, they say, their voice low but earnest. I wouldn't expect anything less from someone who's seen what you've seen. Trust isn't something I can demand from you. It's something that will have to be earned, and I understand that. They pause, taking a step back to give you more space. But consider this, I found you because I've walked the path you're just beginning to see. I've navigated that world and survived its dangers. If I meant you harm, I wouldn't have knocked, I wouldn't have asked. I would have already taken what I wanted. But that's not why I'm here. The visitor glances briefly at the book in your hand, then back to you. The power you're beginning to unlock is a rare and dangerous thing. It can be a gift, but it can also be a curse if not understood properly. I've seen what happens to those who go it alone, they're consumed by it, or worse, they become a threat to everything they care about. Their eyes hold a deep sincerity as they speak. I don't want that for you. I'm offering you guidance because I've been where you are, and I know what's coming. But if you choose not to trust me, I can't force you. Just know that the world beyond this one, it won't wait for you to be ready. It's already moving. Your cat, still by your side, gives a soft meow, as if sensing the weight of the decision before you. The visitor stands quietly, their expression calm but watchful, letting you decide what to believe. You study the visitor carefully, searching for any hint of deception in their eyes. But all you see is a deep weariness, a reflection of someone who has seen and experienced far more than they're letting on. Still, you keep your guard up as you ask, tell me more. What do you know of that other world? And what happens to those who go it alone? The visitor nods, seeming to appreciate your willingness to listen, even if cautiously. They take a seat in a nearby chair, positioning themselves so that they're not looming over you. The world you glimpsed through the book, they begin, is known to some as the threshold. It's a place where the boundaries between reality and the unreal blur, where dreams, fears, and memories take shape. It exists alongside our world, connected yet separate, and only those with certain abilities, like yours, can access it consciously. They pause, their gaze turning distant, as if recalling memories that are difficult to speak of. I was once like you, unaware of what I was capable of until the threshold reached out to me. At first, It seemed like a place of endless possibilities, a refuge from the loneliness and isolation I felt here. But the threshold is deceptive. It can offer power, knowledge, even comfort, but it always demands something in return. The visitor's expression darkened slightly. Many who stumble upon the threshold try to navigate it alone. They think they can control it, that they can use its power without consequence. But the threshold has a way of consuming those who are unprepared. It preys on their fears, twists their desires, and eventually, it can take them over completely. Those who go too deep often lose themselves, becoming little more than shadows, figures who wander between worlds, no longer fully part of either. Your cat, sensing the gravity of the conversation, remains unusually still, her green eyes fixed on the visitor. Those who survive, the visitor continues, are often changed. Some become obsessed, unable to leave the threshold behind. Others find themselves hunted by those who dwell there, beings that exist in the spaces between reality, creatures that feed on the energy of those who cross over. And then there are those who've been trapped for so long that they've forgotten who they were. They linger in the threshold, drawn to the power they can never truly possess. The visitor's eyes meet yours again, filled with a quiet intensity. That's why I'm here. I don't want to see you fall into the same traps. You've already started to draw the threshold's attention, and there are others, both in our world and in the threshold, who would seek to use you, or worse, destroy you. I can help you navigate this, but only if you're willing to let me. Their words hang in the air, heavy with the weight of their experiences. You can sense the truth in what they're saying, though the full scope of it is still difficult to grasp. The threshold, this other world, seems both alluring and dangerous, a place that could offer answers, but at great cost. The visitor listens carefully, their gaze softening with understanding. They lean forward slightly, as if trying to bridge the gap between your worlds with their next words. You may feel invisible in this world, unnoticed by those around you. But in the threshold, things work differently. It isn't about who you are in this world, it's about what you can do, what you represent. They pause for a moment, choosing their words with care. You possess a unique energy, a connection to the threshold that most people can't even begin to sense. It's rare, so rare that it makes you a beacon to those who dwell there. They're drawn to that power, whether they seek to harness it, manipulate it, or simply understand it. To them, you're far from ordinary. Your cat rubs against your leg, as if offering comfort in the midst of this strange revelation. You feel the weight of the book in your hand again, a reminder of the journey that brought you to this moment. The visitor continues, the threshold thrives on the emotions and energies of those who cross into it. And because you're connected to both worlds, this one and that one, you're like a bridge. That's why they're interested in you. To them, you're not just another person living a quiet life. You're someone who could tip the balance, someone who could either protect the threshold or unravel it. They look at you intently, their voice taking on a more urgent tone. But there's something else. Those who go unnoticed in this world, those who feel isolated or out of place, they often have a deeper connection to the unseen. That loneliness you've felt, that sense of being different, it's part of what makes you attuned to the threshold. You see and feel things others can't, even if you don't realize it yet. That's why you were chosen, and why you're so important. The room feels smaller, quieter, as the visitor's words sink in. You've spent so much of your life feeling invisible, but now, it seems that very invisibility has made you a target, or perhaps, something even more significant. The visitor sits back slightly, giving you space to process everything. I know this is a lot to take in, they say gently. But despite what you might think, you do have a choice in what comes next. The visitor's eyes meet yours, and for a moment, you see a flicker of something deeper, an emotion they've kept hidden until now. Suspicion flares anew in your mind, and you toss a challenge back to the stranger. Why do you care? How did you even find me? They pause, as if weighing how much to reveal, then finally speak. Why do I care? They repeat softly, almost to themselves. Because I've seen what happens when someone like you is left to face the threshold alone. I've seen the destruction it can bring, both to the person and to the world around them. And, I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like to feel invisible, to wonder why you were chosen when it feels like you've spent most of your life being overlooked. But that's precisely why I can't just stand by and do nothing. Their gaze hardens, not with anger, but with determination. I've lost people who were important to me, Because I didn't act quickly enough, because I didn't understand what was happening until it was too late. I don't want that to happen again. I don't want that to happen to you. You can sense the weight of their past in their words, a burden they've carried for a long time. It's clear that this isn't just about you, it's also about something, or someone, they've lost before. As for how I found you, they hesitate, as if trying to find the right way to explain. The threshold leaves traces, even in this world. People like us, who are connected to it, give off a certain energy, a resonance. Once you know what to look for, it's not hard to find. I sense that resonance in you. That's how I knew you had crossed into the threshold, even if only briefly. They glance at the book in your hand again. That book is more than just a doorway, it's a link to the threshold. When you read it, you didn't just access another world, you sent out a signal, a ripple that others like me could feel. That's how I knew to come here. Your cat, who has been watching the exchange closely, jumps onto the arm of your chair, rubbing her head against your shoulder. The gesture grounds you, reminding you that despite the strangeness of the situation, you're still here, still in your own space. The visitor watches the cat for a moment before looking back at you, their expression sincere. I care because I've been where you are. And because if I can help you avoid the mistakes I made, then maybe I can make up for some of what I've lost. Their words hang in the air, heavy with a mix of regret and hope. The choice, once again, is in your hands. Who were they? The ones you lost. You persist. The question lingers in the air, and you can see the visitor's expression shift, their eyes darkening with memories. For a moment, they look as though they might not answer, the pain of the past still raw and close to the surface. But then they take a deep breath and begin to speak, their voice softer now, filled with a quiet sadness. There were two, they say slowly, as if each word carries the weight of 1,000 memories. The first was my sister, Lila. She was like you, someone who could sense the threshold, someone with abilities that made her stand out even when she didn't want to. She found a way in, just like you did, and at first, it was amazing. She could do things, see things that others couldn't. But it consumed her. Their gaze drifts past you, staring into a past only they can see. I didn't understand what was happening until it was too late. The threshold. It's seductive. It offers power, control, but it also takes. It twisted her, fed on her insecurities, her loneliness, until she wasn't herself anymore. She became something else, something that wasn't my sister. She's still out there, somewhere between the worlds, lost in the threshold. I've spent years trying to find her, to bring her back, but they trail off, the pain evident in their eyes. I've learned that some things can't be undone. They pause for a moment, as if gathering the strength to continue. The second was a friend. His name was Marcus. He wasn't like us, he couldn't sense the threshold, but he was drawn into it because of me. I thought I could protect him, that I could keep him safe. But the threshold found its way to him, too. And when it did, their voice falters, and they close their eyes briefly, as if trying to block out the memory. He sacrificed himself to save me. He made a choice, one that I've had to live with every day since. The room feels heavy with the weight of their story, and for a moment, the only sound is the soft purring of your cat. The visitor looks at you, their eyes filled with a mix of regret and resolve. That's why I care, they say quietly. Because I don't want anyone else to go through what I've been through. I don't want to lose anyone else to the threshold, especially not someone like you, someone who still has a chance to choose a different path. Their words hang in the air, a fragile connection between your world and theirs. You can see the depth of their experience, the pain that drives them to help you. And now, the choice is yours, whether to trust them, to let them guide you, or to continue on your own. With a critical eye you take a step further into trusting this man. What would you have me do? The visitor studies you for a moment, their expression thoughtful and careful, as if weighing how best to answer. Finally, they speak, their voice calm but filled with a quiet urgency. I would have you learn to understand the threshold, to understand your connection to it. Right now, you're vulnerable because you don't fully grasp what you're capable of, or what the threshold can do. That's the first step, knowledge. With it, you can protect yourself and those around you from its dangers. They pause, watching your reaction closely before continuing. The book you found, it's more than just a story. It's a map, a guide to the threshold's many layers. I can help you decipher it, help you unlock its secrets. But more importantly, I can teach you how to navigate that world without losing yourself. How to control your abilities, rather than letting them control you. Your cat shifts in your lap, her presence grounding you as the visitor's words sink in. The book in your hand feels different now, heavier, more significant. You realize that what you hold is not just a portal but a key to something much larger. The visitor continues, their tone firm but not unkind. There will be others, beings from the threshold, and even people in this world, who will seek you out. Some will want to use your power for their own purposes, others will see you as a threat. You need to be ready for them. And you need to decide what you want from this, what role you'll play. They lean forward slightly, their eyes locking with yours. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to give you the tools to make your own choices. But if you choose to accept my help, I'll show you how to wield the power you've been given, how to protect yourself and those you care about, and how to navigate the threshold without being consumed by it. The visitor leans back, giving you space to consider their words. If you're ready, we can start now. Their offer hangs in the air, full of promise and potential danger. The path ahead is unclear, but the visitor's presence, their sincerity, offers a small light in the uncertainty. Looking around the humble apartment and thinking back to the excitement felt even for a brief moment when things changed, you consider all the possibilities and then give the stranger your answer. Teach me. The visitor's eyes soften with a mix of relief and resolve as you speak the words. They nod, a subtle smile tugging at the corners of their mouth. Good, they say quietly. We start now. They stand and glance around your apartment, their gaze landing on a small, clear space near the center of the room. First, we need to establish a connection, they explain, gesturing for you to follow. Not just to the threshold, but to your own abilities. Everything we do from here on will rely on your ability to control that connection, otherwise, it will control you. You move toward the center of the room, still holding the book tightly. Your cat follows, watching intently, her green eyes reflecting the dim light. The visitor moves to stand beside you, their presence calm and steady. Place the book in front of you, they instruct, their voice low and focused. It's not just a guide, it's a focal point. A way to channel your energy, to create a bridge between this world and the threshold. We'll use it to draw out your power, to bring it into the open where you can see it, feel it, and learn to control it. You lower the book onto the floor gently, its pages still slightly warm from your earlier encounter. The visitor steps back, giving you space as you kneel in front of it. Now, they continue, their tone almost hypnotic, close your eyes. Focus on your breathing. Feel the ground beneath you, the air around you. Let your mind quiet, and let the energy within you rise. It's there, just beneath the surface. Don't force it, just let it come to you. You close your eyes and take a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill your lungs. The world around you begins to fade as you turn your focus inward, searching for that elusive energy the visitor spoke of. It's faint at first, like a whisper on the edge of your consciousness, but as you breathe deeper, you can feel it growing stronger, a warm, pulsing sensation that seems to flow through your veins. Good, the visitor says softly, their voice distant yet clear. Now, imagine that energy flowing from you into the book. Visualize it connecting you to the threshold, creating a bridge between the two worlds. You picture the energy flowing from your body into the book, a glowing thread that connects you to something vast and unknown. The air around you begins to hum with a quiet intensity, and you can feel the pull of the threshold growing stronger, like a distant tide drawing you in. Suddenly, the room feels different, charged with a new energy. The edges of your vision blur, and you sense that the space around you has shifted, as if the boundaries between your world and the threshold have begun to thin. Open your eyes, the visitor instructs. When you do, you see a faint glow emanating from the book, its pages shimmering with an ethereal light. The room feels alive, pulsing with energy, and you realize that you've taken your first step into understanding the power within you. The visitor watches you closely, their expression serious but approving. You've made the connection. Now, let's begin to explore what you can do with it. As you focus your energy into the glowing book, the boundaries between worlds blur. The room fills with an otherworldly light, and the air feels charged with a strange, powerful energy. Your cat watches intently, her glowing green eyes reflecting the shimmering light. The visitor stands nearby, observing your progress with calm attentiveness. You shift your gaze from the glowing book to the visitor, seeking reassurance and direction. They meet your eyes with a steady, calm expression, acknowledging you with a nod of approval. "You've done well," they say, their voice firm but encouraging. "You've connected with the threshold, and now you need to learn to control the flow of energy. Start small, focus on drawing the energy back into yourself, then letting it go. Feel the power, but don't let it overwhelm you." They step closer, their presence grounding you. This is the foundation. Master this, and you'll be able to navigate both worlds with confidence. But remember, never lose sight of who you are in this process. The threshold can be seductive, but it must always serve you, not the other way around. Their words resonate with you, filling you with a renewed sense of purpose. The energy flowing between you and the book pulses in response, awaiting your command. You close your eyes, taking a deep breath as you focus inward. The energy from the threshold pulses around you, powerful and tempting, but you know that before you can control it, you must first find your own center, an anchor within yourself that will ground you, no matter what you face. You search through the layers of your thoughts and emotions, sifting through the loneliness, the uncertainty, the fear that has often defined you. But beneath all that, you find something deeper, something steady. It's a quiet strength, a resolve that has carried you through your hardest moments, even when you felt invisible to the world. It's the part of you that refuses to be lost, no matter how overwhelming the darkness might seem. As you focus on that inner strength, the energy from the threshold begins to calm. Instead of pulling you in every direction, it starts to flow in sync with your breath, steady and controlled. You can feel the power, but it's no longer overwhelming, it's yours to command. In that moment, you realize that your anchor isn't just a feeling or a thought. It's the understanding that no matter what happens, you are still you, stronger than you've ever known, and capable of far more than you once believed. The visitor watches silently, sensing the shift in your energy. When you open your eyes again, they give you a nod of approval. "You found it," they say quietly. "That's the key. Hold on to that, and you'll be able to navigate whatever the threshold throws at you." The glow from the book dims slightly, its energy now aligned with yours. The room feels calmer, more stable, but the power still hums beneath the surface, waiting for your next move. With your newfound anchor grounding you, you turn your focus to the glowing light emanating from the book. The energy feels more manageable now, like a malleable substance that you can shape with your will. You take a deep breath, closing your eyes for a moment to center yourself, and then begin. First, you imagine a single blue rose, its delicate petals unfolding in your mind's eye, rich with deep, vibrant color. You concentrate, and as you open your eyes, you see it taking shape within the glow, materializing in front of you. The rose is vivid, its petals seemingly real, suspended in the light. You can almost smell its fragrance, a mix of floral and crisp coolness. Satisfied, you let the rose dissolve back into the light and move on to the next image, a crystal. You picture it in your mind, clear and sharp, its facets catching the light in complex patterns. Slowly, it emerges within the book's glow, a perfect, shimmering crystal, refracting the light into a spectrum of colors. It hovers before you, solid and precise. You repeat this process with other single items, a feather, a small wooden box, a silver coin, each object becoming more intricate, more detailed. The light responds to your thoughts, shaping itself into whatever you imagine, your control over the energy growing with each creation. As you grow more confident, you begin to challenge yourself. You conjure more complex objects, a delicate glass sculpture, a detailed clock with moving gears, a tiny forest scene with trees swaying in an unseen breeze. Each creation tests your focus and control, but you find that with each successful attempt, you're gaining a deeper understanding of how to wield this power. The visitor watches quietly, their expression a mix of approval and quiet observation. They can see that you're not only mastering the energy, but you're also pushing your own limits, exploring what you're truly capable of. Your cat, ever present, sits nearby, her gaze following the shapes you create. Her eyes reflect the light of the objects as if she too is mesmerized by the world you're bringing to life. After a while, you pause, letting the last image, a delicate silver tree, dissolve back into the glowing book. The room returns to its calm, ethereal state, the air still humming with the energy you've just manipulated. The visitor steps forward, nodding approvingly. You're making progress, they say, their voice steady. The threshold will challenge you in ways far more complex than this, but these exercises are crucial. You're learning to focus, to shape the energy to your will. That's how you'll survive, and thrive, in both worlds. After your increasing ability to manifest has been explored, you feel a sense of accomplishment, but also a growing awareness of the responsibility that comes with this power. Turning to the visitor, you ask, how do I close the bridge? I need to make sure I can return to this world whenever I choose. The visitor nods, clearly pleased with your caution. That's an important question, they say, their tone serious. It's not enough to open the bridge, you must also be able to close it. Controlling when and how you access the threshold is crucial for your safety and sanity. They take a step closer, gesturing toward the glowing book. The bridge is a connection, and like any connection, it can be strengthened or weakened. To close it, you need to reverse the process that opened it. That means drawing back the energy you've released, pulling it back into yourself and severing the link with the threshold, at least temporarily. They kneel beside you, their voice calm and steady. Let's start with your focus. Take a deep breath and center yourself. Just as you directed your energy outward to create those images, you'll now direct it inward, like pulling a thread back into a spool. Feel the connection to the threshold, acknowledge it, and then consciously release it. You close your eyes, feeling the energy that still hums around you. It's vibrant, alive, but now you imagine it as threads of light extending from your core into the book, into the threshold. With each breath, you begin to gently tug those threads back, visualizing them retracting into your center, the connection thinning and weakening. The light from the book starts to dim, the ethereal glow fading as you pull the energy back into yourself. The world around you, the room, your surroundings, begins to feel more solid, more anchored in reality again. Good, the visitor says softly. Now, focus on sealing that connection. Picture a door or a gate in your mind, something that represents the bridge between this world and the threshold. When you feel ready, imagine closing that door, locking it, keeping the threshold on the other side until you choose to open it again. You visualize a sturdy door in your mind's eye, standing at the edge of a vast, swirling void. Slowly, you push it closed, feeling the energy around you quiet as the connection to the threshold narrows to a thin line, then disappears entirely. The glow from the book fades completely, leaving your apartment dimly lit, peaceful, and still. When you open your eyes, everything feels normal again. The room is quiet, your cat has settled back into her usual spot, and the air is free of the strange hum of energy that once filled it. You've successfully closed the bridge, severing the connection to the threshold, at least for now. The visitor smiles faintly, satisfied. You did well, they say. Now you know how to control the bridge, both opening and closing it. This will allow you to navigate both worlds safely. Remember, the threshold is always there, but it's your choice when to engage with it. Their words fill you with a sense of calm confidence. You've taken a significant step toward mastering your abilities, and with that knowledge comes a newfound sense of control. You turn to the visitor, the book still lying quietly on the floor, its glow completely gone. The air around you feels normal again, yet the memory of the power you accessed remains vivid. What role does the book play in all of this? You ask. Is it the key to my power, or is it just a tool? Can I open the door to the bridge without it, even if it's not physically in front of me? The visitor nods thoughtfully, as if anticipating your question. They look down at the book for a moment, then meet your gaze. The book is both a tool and a catalyst, they explain. It's a guide, a focal point that helps you channel your abilities. For someone just beginning to explore their connection to the threshold, it serves as an focal point, a way to stabilize the bridge between worlds. But it's not the source of your power. That power comes from within you. They step closer to the book, glancing at it as they continue. Think of the book as a map. It helps you navigate the threshold, giving you structure and focus. But like any map, it's not necessary once you know the terrain. As you grow more skilled, you'll be able to open the bridge and access the threshold without the book's physical presence. The connection is something you carry inside you, and with practice, you'll learn to summon it at will. Their eyes meet yours with a serious expression. However, I would caution you to take your time with this. The book is a tool that offers control and guidance, which can be invaluable as you're still learning. Once you're more comfortable with your abilities, you can experiment with opening the bridge without it. But doing so too early, without that focus point, can be dangerous. The threshold is unpredictable, and without something to ground you, it's easy to get lost. Your cat, who seems to understand the gravity of the conversation, remains quietly at your side, her presence a constant comfort. You take in the visitor's words, realizing that while the book has been essential so far, it's not the only means of accessing your power. The potential to control the bridge lies within you, waiting to be fully unlocked. The visitor continues, in time, you may find other tools or methods to help you navigate the threshold, things that resonate with you personally. But the key to all of this is your own will, your own strength. The book is a tool, but you are the one in control. Their words fill you with a deeper understanding of your journey. The book has been your entry point, but it's not the end of the story, it's just the beginning. You feel a subtle pull in the background, almost like a quiet whisper from the threshold, even with the book closed and the bridge temporarily sealed. It's alluring, promising connection, understanding, maybe even an end to the loneliness that has haunted you for so long. Turning to the visitor, you ask, what makes the threshold so dangerous? If it offers connection, if it means I won't have to feel so alone, why should I be afraid of it? The visitor listens closely, their expression softening as they consider your question. They nod slowly, as if they understand all too well what you're feeling. The threshold is seductive, they begin, their voice measured and calm. It can offer things that this world often doesn't: connection, power, knowledge, even a sense of belonging. And for someone who has felt isolated, who has longed for something more, those promises can be hard to resist. They pause, choosing their words carefully. But the danger lies in the threshold's dual nature. It reflects what you desire, but it also amplifies your fears, your insecurities. The more time you spend there, the harder it becomes to distinguish between what's real and what's a manifestation of your own mind. The threshold can create illusions, twist your perceptions, and in doing so, it can trap you. Those who seek connection there often find it, but not always in the way they expect. The visitor's eyes darken slightly, their gaze distant as if recalling painful memories. The threshold feeds on strong emotions, both good and bad. It can offer you companionship, but it can also lure you into relationships that aren't healthy, that are based on need rather than true connection. And the beings that dwell there, some of them will present themselves as allies, even friends, but their intentions aren't always pure. They can manipulate your feelings, exploit your loneliness, and draw you deeper into the threshold until it's hard to find your way back. Your cat, sensing your unease, rubs against your leg, grounding you in the present moment. The visitor continues, their voice gentler now. It's not that the threshold can't offer genuine connections, it can. But those connections come with risks. If you lose yourself in the threshold, if you become too reliant on it for what you're missing in this world, it can consume you. That's why it's so important to maintain control, to always remember who you are and where you belong. They take a step closer, their eyes full of understanding. I know what it's like to feel alone, to long for something more. But the threshold isn't a cure for loneliness. It's a powerful tool, a place where you can learn and grow, but it can't replace real connections in this world. That's why you need to be careful, to use the threshold wisely, without letting it take over your life. Their words resonate with you, both comforting and cautionary. The pull of the threshold is real, but so are the risks. You realize that while it offers much, it also requires careful navigation and a strong sense of self. Realizing I don't even know the visitor's name, I ask, what shall I call you? You seem to know so much about me, yet I don't even know your name. The visitor seems almost taken aback by your question, as if the thought of introducing themselves had never crossed their mind. They study you for a moment, and then a small, thoughtful smile crosses their face. Names, they say quietly, can carry a lot of weight, especially in places like the threshold. They hold power, they define us. And sometimes, they can bind us. Their eyes flicker with a hint of something, perhaps a memory or a lingering caution. But you're right. You've trusted me enough to share your journey with me, and you deserve to know who I am. They pause, considering their words carefully. You can call me Ash. It's a name I took on after everything that happened with the threshold. After I lost the people I told you about. It's not the name I was born with, but it's the one I use now. It's simpler, and it reminds me of where I've been and what I've survived. Ash's gaze softens as they continue. I know I haven't shared much about myself, and that's because I'm focused on helping you navigate what's ahead. But know this, I'm not just someone here to instruct you. I'm someone who's been through the same trials you're facing now. I want to help you avoid the mistakes I made, to protect you from the dangers I couldn't escape. They meet your eyes, their expression sincere. If you ever need more than just guidance, if you need someone to talk to understand what you're going through, know that I'm here for that, too. You're not alone in this, no matter how it might feel. The name Ash lingers in the air between you, a connection that feels real and grounding in the midst of all the uncertainties. There's a sense of relief in finally knowing what to call them, and it seems to bring a new level of trust between you. As you stand there with Ash, you feel a wave of conflicting emotions. On one hand, you want to trust them, to believe that they truly understand what you're going through. Their words resonate deeply with you, especially the way they speak of loneliness and navigating a world that doesn't quite fit who you are. You've longed for someone who gets it, who sees you for who you are without judgment. But then, the memories come flooding back. The times you tried to connect with others, only to be met with misunderstanding or indifference. You've been different for as long as you can remember, and that difference has always felt like a barrier between you and the rest of the world. It's not just the loneliness that's hard to bear, it's the realization that no matter how much you try, you'll never fit into the mold that society expects. You learned that the hard way, and it made you pull back, retreat into yourself. It was safer that way, less painful. Yet here is Ash, standing before you, someone who seems to understand that feeling all too well. They've been through their own struggles, their own losses, and they haven't just survived, they've turned that pain into a purpose. They're offering you guidance, a way forward, and maybe, just maybe, a connection that won't demand you change who you are to fit in. But trusting someone again, letting them in, that's a risk. You've been burned before, and the scars are still there. You can't help but wonder if Ash will eventually see the parts of you that others couldn't handle. Will they pull away like the others did, or will they stand by you, even when things get difficult? Ash seems to sense your hesitation. They don't push you or demand an answer. Instead, they wait, their presence calm and steady. It's as if they understand that trust can't be rushed, that it has to be earned over time. And maybe that's what makes them different, maybe that's why you feel a small flicker of hope. As you reflect on these thoughts, you realize that while the fear of being hurt again is strong, the possibility of finding someone who truly understands you is worth considering. Ash has been through their own trials, and they're still standing, still offering their hand. It's up to you to decide if you're ready to take it. You turn your gaze back to the book, its presence both comforting and compelling. The pull of the threshold is still there, quietly urging you to dive back in, to explore more of what lies beyond. The power you felt, the connection, the sense that there's more waiting for you, it's hard to resist. You feel a strong urge to try again, to continue pushing the boundaries of what you can do. But as you reach out toward the book, Ash gently places a hand on your shoulder, their touch light but firm. I know you want to keep going, they say, their voice calm yet filled with understanding. But you've done enough for today. The threshold is vast and powerful, and if you push too hard, too fast, it can overwhelm you. It's important to pace yourself, to rest and let your mind and body recover. Their words make sense, even though part of you still wants to resist. You've only just begun to tap into this new world, and the desire to keep exploring is strong. But there's something in Ash's tone, in the way they're looking at you, that makes you pause. They're not just saying this to hold you back, they genuinely care about your well-being, and they've seen firsthand what happens when someone pushes themselves too far. Ash steps back, giving you space, but their eyes remain steady on yours. You've made incredible progress today? You've connected with the threshold, learned to control the bridge, and started to understand your power. But rest is part of the process, too. It will help you return stronger, more focused. You look down at the book again, feeling the weight of Ash's advice. It's hard to let go of the pull you feel, but deep down, you know they're right. You can sense the edges of fatigue creeping in, the mental and emotional strain of everything you've learned and experienced today. With a reluctant sigh, you step back from the book, letting your hand fall to your side. Okay, you say quietly, your voice tinged with both acceptance and a hint of frustration. I'll rest. Ash gives you a small, approving nod. You'll be better for it, they say softly. And the threshold will still be there when you're ready to return. You take a deep breath, trying to calm the restless energy still buzzing inside you. Somehow, despite the pull of the threshold, you believe that Ash has good intentions. You might not be able to fully trust them yet, but they've earned enough of your respect for you to listen. And maybe, just maybe, that's the first step toward something more. As you prepare to rest for the night, you feel a sense of quiet determination settling in. This journey is far from over, but for now, you allow yourself to let go, knowing that tomorrow will bring new challenges, and new opportunities to learn and grow. As you begin to pull back from the intensity of the day, you hear Ash speak softly behind you. There's a sadness in their voice that catches you off guard. "I should go," they say, almost as if they regret the words themselves. You turn to face them, surprised by the suddenness of their departure. "How can I find you again?" you ask, the question escaping your lips before you can stop yourself. Despite everything, despite your hesitation to fully trust, you realize you don't want them to just disappear, not after all that's happened. Ash looks at you, a small, almost wistful smile forming on their lips. "Don't worry," they say gently. "I won't be far. When you need guidance, I'll find you. But for now, you need to rest. Your journey is just beginning, and you'll need your strength for what lies ahead." Their words are meant to comfort, and somehow, they do. There's a reassurance in Ash's calm demeanor that makes you believe they'll keep their promise. You nod, accepting their advice, even though part of you still wishes they would stay a little longer. Ash steps toward the door, their movements quiet and deliberate. Before they leave, they turn back to you one last time. "Take care of yourself," they say, their voice filled with sincerity. "You're stronger than you realize." And with that, they slip out the door, leaving you alone in the soft glow of your apartment. The silence that follows feels strange after all the intensity of the day, but it's also peaceful, giving you a moment to process everything that's happened. As you prepare for bed, your mind races with thoughts of the threshold, the power you've begun to access, and the mysteries that still lie ahead. But there's also a quiet sense of resolve building within you, a feeling that, with Ash's guidance, you might just be able to navigate this strange new world and whatever challenges it brings. You slide under the covers, the familiar comfort of your bed grounding you. Your cat jumps up beside you, curling into a warm ball at your side, her purring a soothing sound in the quiet room. As your eyes begin to close, you can still feel the faint pull of the threshold in the back of your mind, but it's softer now, more distant. For tonight, you let it go, trusting that you'll be ready to face it again when the time comes. And as sleep finally takes you, you hold on to Ash's words, knowing that you're not alone in this journey. When the time is right, they'll be there again, ready to guide you through whatever comes next. Here ends Chapter 1 of The Threshold. But the journey is just beginning. What if the boundaries between our world and another weren't as solid as we think? What if a single book could pull you into a place where reality and magic collide? In Chapter 1, our story began with a stranger and an invitation to a world called the Threshold. But now, the mystery deepens. In Chapter 2, the edge of reality starts to blur. Is it a dream? Or something much more? Ash returns with answers, but with them comes a greater danger. Join the journey, uncover the secrets of the threshold, and find out who, or what, is watching. Subscribe now to make sure you don't miss a step. And share Chapter 1 with those who may also want to explore the threshold for themselves. The threshold awaits. Will you step through? If you do not yet see a link for Chapter 2, then you have slipped through a time portal. But never fear, it's not a long wait. Subscribe and know the next chapter will come.